I'm Elle, and you're listening to the Enneagram and Popcorn Podcast. You are listening to episode 11, Gossip Girl, which you can watch on Netflix.
You're listening to Enneagram and Popcorn. 9 types, 2 pals, bring snacks. Join Penny and Elle as they talk all things Enneagram and entertainment. And of course, what would binge watching be without snacks? And now your host, Penny and Elle.
It should be noted that I am by no means an Enneagram expert. I'm not here to type you, but I do love talking about it. If you're looking to find your Enneagram type, I recommend working with a licensed professional or reading some of the great books in our resources section in the show notes. I also want to mention that these opinions are my own, and I want to hear your own opinions as well. Feel free to join the conversation by shooting me a line at enneagraml@gmail.com. I can't believe I am already recording my second solo show. The first one was so much fun, and I'm so glad to be back doing another show. This time it's a little more drama than gore, which Bones had. I am doing Gossip Girl. This amazing show had 6 seasons. It ran from 2007 to 2012, and from what I have heard is there is a possible reboot coming. Has anybody else heard that? Let me know if you have any details. I'd love to know when this is happening, what's happening, where it's happening, who's playing in this show. It sounds amazing. I was talking to Penny the other day and I was like, I definitely think this show is hit or miss. You either watched it when you were 18 and now it's something you go back to and watch, or you never watched it and you're like, why do you watch that show? And I'm definitely one of the people that watched it when I was younger, and now I can watch it an episode here and an episode there, and I love it all the same. But I am going to just jump into it. I am typing Serena, Blair, Nate, Chuck, Dan, and Jenny. I didn't do any of the side characters just because that could have taken a whole day for me to type all 5,000 characters. But if you have thoughts on what number Lily Bass is, or Rufus, or Eric, if you have any thoughts on what their numbers are, send me an email. We can definitely talk about it. I just didn't want this show to be 9 years long. So, without further ado, let's just jump right into Serena. So I typed her as a 7-wing 6, which 7 seems just kind of obvious to me. I put a bunch of describing words for her as a 7, and every single one of them I was like, yep. So I'm going to read these to you. Almost everything that I am going to read to you today is coming from the Enneagram for Relationships book by Ashton Whitmore Ober. I will put it in the show notes so you can check it out. It's one that I reference all the time. Penny seems to, she is just like a sponge when it comes to knowledge. And she reads all sorts of books, but this is the one that I keep going back to. So, Serena, I put spontaneous, playful, upbeat, positive, adventurous, scattered, impulsive. I put her as a 7-wing 6 because that 6-wing makes her not likely to get into any confrontational situation. She's very, I would say, passive, but there's a lot of examples that I could come up with of her being a wing 6. There's a lot of self-doubt in her relationships. Pretty much every relationship there is doubt. And what I'm about to say will tie in the next character, Blair. So, the one example I could think of her being a 7 that really stuck out to me was the fashion show, where Serena and Blair are at her mom's fashion show. Serena's being all crazy and fun and having a really good time and really showing that 7 Enneagram type and all of the spontaneity, upbeat, positive, adventurous, playful. All of those words really stuck out to me. And then for Blair, the same breath, I typed Blair as a 3-wing 4. And in that same fashion show, Blair is having a very hard time, like, letting go and being, like, fun and funny and messing around because she's so image conscious. So a common mistype for a 3 is an 8. And I actually read this same little excerpt thing to you guys in my Bones episode, but I'm going to read it again because the same for Blair goes for Booth in the last episode. So 3s and 8s are often mistyped because they are both assertive and have the tendency to take charge. However, 3s take charge because they want to be seen as valuable, whereas 8s just want to be in control. And I really believe that Blair feels like she wants to be accepted and she cares a lot about how people perceive her. So some of the, like, bullet point words that I put down for her: goal-oriented, focused, charming, she gets what she wants, confident, image-conscious, and charismatic. And then, so I put 3, and then for her wing, I put 4, and she just has all these, like, quirks about her. Like, one big example is her dreams. Most of the time, her dreams are in black and white, and they are always from, like, Audrey Hepburn, an Audrey Hepburn movie, or, you know, some drama where she's, like, the main character and everything's being taken from her and blah, 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 blah. But, some notes that I made, she's very self-aware, passionate, and envious, and those are all Enneagram 4 traits. Moving right along, let's go into Nate. I put Nate as a 2-wing 1. He was probably one that I struggled with a little bit just because he really changes throughout the whole show. He goes into, like, 7 land, and he goes into, like, 4, but I kept going back to 2. So, and it's because he's so loving and caring and enthusiastic, and he's such a people pleaser, he's unselfish. And then the 1 qualities is just, like, he wants to be good. I went back and forth between 1 and 3, and yeah, he's image conscious, but I think that just kind of comes with the territory of being, like, an elite on the Upper East Side and Gossip Girl. So I landed on 1, and he just really cares about the right thing. Like, when he's going through all this stuff with his dad, and his dad is, like, initially getting arrested and for, like, his drug problem, he's like, you need to turn yourself in. The only way it's going to get fixed is if you do the right thing. And he really kind of sticks with that. And really, you see his character struggle when he's doing something wrong. Like, when he has the affair, I think that's, like, in season 4 or something. But when he's having the affair with the lady who becomes his boss, I'm blanking on her name. He at first is like, yeah, we can't do this because this is bad. So that is why I landed on a 2-wing 1. And then Chuck Bass. Chuck Bass, where do I even begin? It was pretty obvious to me that he was an 8, but I went back and forth on his wing. But some of the things why I picked 8 is he's confident. I mean, his, like, catchphrase is, I'm Chuck Bass. So confidence is there for sure. He's protective, passionate, decisive, truthful, assertive, bossy, willful, confrontational. And so one thing that I was reading about for 8s, because I wanted to give more of a reason for him being an 8 than just, like, he's confident and confrontational. But so 8s grow to 2. So when he's in a good place, he has a lot of 2 tendencies. So he's, like, loving and caring, and most of the time this is when him and Blair are in a good spot, is when he's in 2 land. He's, like, sentimental, unselfish, and that is when 8s grow to 2. But then when him and Blair are not in a good place is when he isolates himself to a 5. So 8s descend to 5. So when they're not doing well, they take on some of the 5 tendencies, and which I 100% see him doing that. He isolates himself, and then he's, like, secretive and whole growth and stress or descends thing really sold the 8 for me. The next person that I typed is Dan. Dan, I put as a 5-wing 6. He is very perceptive, secretive, isolated, fair, curious, intense. He's a thinker. He's self-reliant. He's a subject expert, which I've never used that verbiage for a 5. I knew that, but I've never used it, and I was like, oh my gosh, yes, I could think of 100 times in the whole show that he is like an expert on something. And one of the things that really stuck out was when, this is season 1 or maybe 2, probably 1, where they have, yeah, it's definitely season 1 now that I'm thinking about it, they have the Dartmouth interview to see who gets to like escort the Dartmouth whatever person, and he knows like everything about this man, and Nate gets to escort the author professor guy, and the whole night he's just like giving Nate all this information. He's like, talk about Dr. Seuss, talk about this, and Nate's like, okay, I don't know what you're talking about, but Dan really like fixates on things and learns them pretty extensively. Another thing that really stuck out to me is that another thing that stuck out to me is that 5s grow to 8. So when he's in a good place, he's very confident, passionate, decisive, truthful, confrontational. So like on, is it episode 2 of the whole season, when Chuck like tries to take advantage of Jenny at the party, and I'm assuming Dan was feeling pretty in a good place because he was on his first date with Serena, and he is super confrontational about the people that he loves, which I put Dan as a 5-wing 6. So he is very loyal, very, very not likely to get into a confrontational thing, but if he's doing well, then he might take on some of those qualities of an 8. I also find it interesting that, in my mind, Serena and Dan share their wing, which could be reason for some of the conflict in their relationship, because they both are pretty doubtful about things. Like 6s have a tendency to like doubt many things. Shocker. I'm a 6. That's funny. But 6s are more skeptical, which can lead to issues in a relationship. And then the last and final character that I typed was Jenny, and I put her as a 4-wing 3, and I think she is 1000% a 4. Like, she's creative, inspiring, sensitive, authentic, deep, warm, supportive, like all of those 4 qualities. Like her whole character is built around being creative and how young she is and how creative she is at that age, with her drive to get there, which is really cool. A weakness of a 4 is that 4s can feel envious of others when they have what the 4 wants, or are experiencing things that the 4 wants to experience. So that really stuck out to me when I was thinking about her relationship with Blair, because I feel like she never truly likes Blair. Like, she's never like, I'm gonna hang out with Blair because I like her. It's more of like, I'm going to hang out with Blair because she has what I want. And that's like very early on that you start to realize that. And I just think that characteristic of a 4 sticks out to me so much. It's also interesting that Jenny is a 4-wing 3, and I think that Blair is a 3-wing 4. She's just very going to get what she wants regardless of like what happens. And I think that can be from her 3-wing. But yeah, so I would love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions on me typing. Everybody, what do you think? Did I hit it right on the head, or do you think I'm way off? I would love to know. Penny and I's next show is The Holiday, which is a fun, festive Christmas movie, there's so many good characters, but we will be sharing that in a couple of weeks. So if you are into holiday movies. Check that out. Other than that, I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.